Yo, what's up, you guys? It is Thursday, June 5th, and we are back with another TnS Daily review. So, jumping right into things here, we have basically 9:30. Give me 1 second. Let me move this. Okay, so yeah, we're basically at 9:30 open here, and we have a long setup that's trying to be, in the process of playing out here. So when the 9:30 candle comes around, we basically wick on both sides, and this will be counted because it does wick on both sides right at 9:30, which means you of course would have had a chance to enter this trade. However, it still would have been a loss, so this trade will be counted as a loss for trade number one. Um, because the higher entry did get stopped, as you can see basically right here, it got stopped, and even the lower entry also eventually did get stopped. So once that lower entry gets stopped, that's what we counted as a loss. So that means trade number one would be a loss for versions 1 and 2. Okay, so trade number one is a loss for both once again. And then we actually didn't have any more long setups down here anywhere because this one, even if this was valid, it already played out. So no trades there. And we basically fly until we make a new setup. And unfortunately for this setup, this lower entry did get stopped to the tick. The higher entry, of course, did get stopped here, right there. But the lower entry also did get stopped. The lower entry is actually version 1, but you can see basically got stopped to the tick there. Very unfortunate. Stopped, and then it plays out for the full TP, which is pretty unfortunate. So trade number two would be a loss for both as well. Okay. And then we push up, and we actually get a short and a long setup here. So we'll do we'll do the short setup first because the short actually ended up playing out. This would be TnS version 2, actually. So it's going to be a trade counter for both. And you can see the TP is for 58 points because this candle taps the FEG and the entry for the first time. You look to the left, it will be that low there. And then your stop is basically right here. And this one did end up getting TP because we basically dumped from here. It's kind of like high of day. But yeah, you can see it did get TP there. So let me back up. So trade number 3 is a win for both. Okay, now as trade number 3 got its TP, there's actually a long setup here. And this one was a version 2 long as well. It did end up getting stopped because we basically dumped fully from here. So this long setup did get stopped in the process of the short playing out, as you can see. And this long setup was TnS version 2, so it'd be both versions for a loss there. So trade number 4 for both would be a loss. And then we create some new short setups, but we really don't tap into them. This one would have been nice, but it was too close to the edge. As we can see, the indicator didn't even pick it up because it was a little bit too close. Actually, let me double check that. Yeah, it was too close, within 2 points there. And then moving along, remember, no entry here because this gap has already been used and it was actually lost either way. And we keep going. We tap into a short here. So this short setup gets tagged in, 35-point stop. The TP is down here for 68 points, as you can see on the indicator. And it did play out. Got pretty close to the stop. You can see if I zoom in here, it did not hit the stop loss. It got pretty close, 33 points in drawdown, which means it's only 2 points away from getting stopped, but it did not get stopped. And it runs for full TP down there. So back that up there. And this would be TnS version 2 as well. So both versions. So trade number 5 is going to be a win for both. Okay, now in the process of trade number 5 winning, there's actually, remember, a long setup down here, which was also TnS version 2, that got stopped in the process of that short setup playing out. So this would be the stop loss for the short. I mean for the long setup, sorry, and then it did get stopped out there for 35. So trade number 6 for both would be a loss as well. Okay. And then we actually got a really nice long setup here with this FEG down here, which overlapped from the other day. And this one actually was version 2 as well. As you can see, I took the indicator off to show version 1 and I put it back on to show version 2. It's in the same spot, which means it is a version 2 long. And it was basically a snipe here. And the TP for it was this high for 83 points. Let me back up so that you can see the indicator even picked it up. As you can see, the indicator does pick this one up for 82 points, actually. Sorry. But this one would be a win for both TnS versions 1 and 2. That's going to be trade number 7. So trade number 7 is a win. Okay, so after this one got TP, remember TP is right here. You actually could have held a runner on this one too, just like the short. The short setup was about right here. The runner goes for actually 150 points, and then this one goes for another 100 points as well. Basically 117 points there. So you got back-to-back 100-point plays. With TnS there after a couple losses here and there. But then we dump all the way back down. Remember, we're not looking to use this gap anymore because it's already been used by TnS, so it's no longer in play. For some reason, the indicator is still marking it out. And then we have a short setup here. I think this was the last setup of the day, but it did end up being a loss. These are actually the version 2 short entries. If I switch this to version 1, you can see it looks a little bit different here. This would be the highest entry for version 1, but this was still the lowest entry for both here. So it did get stopped either way. And then, just to show you, even if you use the highest entry there for version 1, it did get stopped as well. As you can see, the stop would be right there. We went well over that. So trade number 2 would, trade number 8 would be a loss for both. And I do believe that was the last setup, but let's double check. Yeah, it gets into 350 here. So this trade triggered right at 4 o'clock will not count, of course, because that is our cutoff time. But let's just see what happens for the fun of it here. Looks like it got TP, so that'd be just like another honorable mention here right at 4 o'clock at the end of the day. But yeah, guys, these would be our final stats. Let's tally them all up to get our final results. All right, guys, so these would be our final results. Both versions, TnS versions 1 and 2, had the same exact trade, so the stats are the same today. So both versions with 0.9 are on the day. That's with 33 points, and that is with 3 wins and 5 losses today. So lots and lots of trades today, lots of wins and lots of losses as well. Really not lots of wins, but the wins that did occur, they were for a decent amount of points. That's why it ended up being a green day. Even though the green day is not for 1R, it's still pretty nice that I was still able to end off green after, basically like a win-loss, win-loss, win-loss type of day. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this daily review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.